Welcome to our weekly coach interview with head coach Damon Floyd of the Bradley Central Bears. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey, here at Bradley Central High School. Our interview is always brought to you by Cleveland Collision Center at 2901 Water Level Highway. See them for all your automotive repair work that you might need. Visit them online at clevelandcollision.com. Last Friday night at Saudi Days, a non-region game, tough road win over a mighty good foe, and a very respected friend of yours, Justin Barnes, the coach there. It's hard to speculate, but we moved it to Thursday, and it was perfect night for football. It'd been a little different if we played on Friday and downpour, I'd say, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we definitely changed the game plan a little bit, and may have helped us a little bit more. You know, we knew going in that Justin was very good at scheme-wise and was going to take advantage of however we lined up defensively. He was going to find something, and he did. He did a good job scheming against us. You know, fortunately for us, we've got a very explosive offense, and it was that way again Thursday night. So, you know, defensively, once again, one half was really, really bad, and one half was really, really good. And we're still trying to put our finger on it. You know, I mean, we're continuing to work, but it's, to say the least, it's very frustrating of how we play defensively sometimes this year.
Well, we're like a Jekyll and Hyde team sometimes. We have some perfection sometimes on offense, defense, special teams, and then we don't even know what a football is sometimes, seems like. But I know as a head coach that's got to be frustrating to you. But it's driving me and Earl Rowan crazy on the radio because, you know, we get these deficits and we somehow figure a way to come back. But let's look at different aspects of our game. You know, offense, defense, and special teams are the three segments of the game. Look in our special teams. I thought if you go back, and you don't pick things up sometimes during the game, but you go back and look at what happened. We had Isaac Vaughn again, perfect 7 for 7 on PATs. You mentioned earlier on in the year that he's good at placing a kick. And we have figured out we're not going to kick it long to some return guy. And he has pooched it so many times up high enough to force him to fair catch. And they get 25, 30 yards. But still, that's a good weapon to have in your arsenal for him to be able to do that.
Well, not only that, is his onside kicks.
Well, I was going to mention that too. He had another one.
I mean, he can really put it where we want it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had an onside kick against him, but then we went 3 and out. But, yeah, Isaac's been, I mean, and we talked about it all year long, especially at the beginning of the year. We feel like he's a weapon for us.
It's 21 in a row, I think, now. He had 27 before.
Yeah, he's doing good. And our kickoff coverage has got to get better. A couple times we just got out of lanes, and some of the big returns we gave up, it certainly wasn't Isaac's fault. It's our kickoff team. You know, you score 49 points. This is not an excuse. It's reality. Is sometimes those guys on kickoff, they do get tired of running down there. That's a long sprint.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to suck it up and do a better job. So Isaac's doing a good job of placing the ball. We got to do a better job of covering kickoffs.
Well, on special teams, let's look at Braden Clark. He's not a boomer as far as long punts goes, but he can place it pretty good. He had one's going to land about the 5-yard line Friday night, and their guy unfortunately made the decision to try to fair catch, and he fumbled it, and we scored a touchdown. It was Trentavious Roberts fell on and got the first score, Ringo we call him.
Yeah.
That was a huge play by special teams right there. That's our first score of the game.
Kept us in the game for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, give Coach Freeman credit because he works on that. We work on kicking into the end zone, kicking out of the end zone, you know, every situation we can be in. And Trent's done a good job of it in practice and being where he's supposed to be. You know, there was also another kick inside the 5, I think, where Trent goes down, puts his back against the goal line, keeps it from, you know, he rolls it, lets it roll as much as he can. So, of course, they end up scoring a 97-yard drive on that. But the good thing about Braden is he's so athletic. You know, if it is a bad snap, he's been good at, you know, getting up, catching it high. We've only faked one this year, and probably that was really my fault because we forced it. But it's hard for people to come after us because Braden, he can run it, he can throw it. So he's a good weapon to have back there as well.
Pretty good on defense too. You know,
he gets after it. He's very physical and he's an intense kid.
Speaking of defense, last week we gave up some points, 35 points, gave up 28 the first half. Second half, we outscored them 28-7. So there's that Jekyll and Hyde mentality, I guess, or whatever, personality coming through. But our defense, it was so good to see Tucker Thompson back, and he got an interception the other night. And he seems to be a spiritual, emotional type leader, intense on the sidelines, and got the guys fired up. I know we could see, and you mentioned before that one guy doing a good thing, the whole sideline erupts when they see one guy being successful for the Bears, and that's got to make you and the coaching staff feel real well.
Well, we're happy to have Tucker back. I mean, he's a long, lanky kid, and he's very aggressive, and he's a smart kid too. You know, he had an interception, and it was a certain look we were giving them, and we felt like, you know, they were going to throw a hot route off of it. So in other words, when we're blitzing, they're going to hot to that receiver. And Tucker did a good job of disguising and then knowing where the receiver's going to be, having inside leverage, and you know that interception was huge.
Yes, perfect time.
We weren't planning on playing Tucker a whole lot because it was his first game back. and because he got hurt against Oodawall, so he's missed 4 or 5 weeks. And but the way the game was going, obviously we needed all the help we can get, and Tucker made a huge impact, and actually ended up being Defensive Player of the Week for us.
Yeah.
I guess to answer your question, yeah, momentum was huge, and Tucker helped with that momentum on defense.
Well, we also had another pick, Aiden McCleary. I think that's third of the year. He leads the team with 3 of those, and it came at another good time too, because this is when we were still behind and all. And it takes a team effort. I was talking to Cam Arrowwood and Tucker Still a couple weeks ago, or last week I guess it was, about. I said, why is our defense so inconsistent? I guess is the right word. He said, well, 10 of us can be doing the right thing, and just one guy out of position going the wrong way can blow up the whole play. And it is totally a team effort, and everybody's got to be doing their part in being in the right position, I guess, to be successful.
They do. And Coach Barnes did a good job, but he schemed us a couple times where we're in a certain front, and their blocking scheme kind of got us a little bit. But in the end, it's still about blocking and tackling. We've got to get off blocks, and we've got to make tackles. We missed way too many tackles Friday night. And
yeah.
Probably don't need to use the words that's coming to my mind, but we're not happy. I'll just say that. We're not happy about the way we're playing defense. And our kids need to come with a different attitude Friday and a different kind of intensity, or we're not going to have a chance to come back. We can't depend on our offense to score 49 every week. And just mad would be the best way. I hope our kids feel it. I know as a coaching staff, defensive side of the ball, we're not happy.
Okay, well, that's good. That's what we want to hear there. Speaking of offense now, we have obviously a lot of weapons on offense. Friday night, we get behind early. We get behind pretty good, 28-7, I guess it was at one point, and we start coming back. We got 2 touchdowns right before half, one of them right near the half, and made 28-21. We got the ball coming out, so we'll feel pretty good, at least up in the press box we are, because momentum's on our side at this point. We're doing really well there. But we've had Saylor Clark got banged up. He's injury bitten, seems like this year. But you got a weapon like Cannon Hall, who sort of steps in, and Ashton Boyd and Riley Harmon, and to say nothing of Trey Curry, who's out wide receiver. Then Ricky gets his ankle dinged there right before halftime. And all you do is move Trey, who's the #1 prospect in football in the state of Tennessee at any level, the #1 prospect. And he's being recruited and wooed by everybody far and wide in the D1. He'll be playing big-time college football in a couple more years. Thank God we got him next year too, though. But he steps in, picks 150, 60, 70 yards or whatever, and averages a first down every touch of the ball he has. Forget him at receiving, but how is he able? I mean, he's a tall. You look at him in street clothes. He's tall, slim, lanky. He doesn't look like a power runner, but he runs straight up almost. But it's always positive yards. He falls forward. He doesn't get knocked back usually. And is he just that strong, or?
Yes.
Yeah. He is that strong.
I think a lot of people would be shocked at his numbers in the weight room.
Really?
How strong he is. And I mean, let's be honest. God blessed him with a lot of ability.
Yes.
There's a lot of us that can work as hard as we want to work, and we'll never get to Trey Curry's level. So, yeah, we're fortunate to have a player like Trey, and Trey's very blessed, like I mentioned. But honestly, it's kind of. I mean, that's why he's getting recruited at these places.
Yeah.
That's grown men that go to Alabama's, Tennessee's, all those Floridas, Georgias, and he physically fits right in there with them. So
it'll be fun watching him on TV.
Oh man, well I like watching him on Friday night.
Oh yeah. Let's keep him a while longer.
Yeah, but the good thing about Trey is, man, Ricky went down, and they go to running back. Trey goes to running back, and he takes over the game. So. I mean, I say he takes over the game. He's a part of taking over the game.
Yeah.
Cannon Hall and Javen. Of course, our offensive line, once again, they're giving Javen time. And, fortunately, we got a lot of weapons. Now, I do want to say this about Saylor and Ricky, man. Those are 2 seniors that have worked their tail off. And, Ricky had to fight through injuries all of last year. This was really his first injury this year. Saylor, man, I feel bad because a kid like that, you're talking about a kid that's never missed a workout in the weight room. He's a basketball player that comes at 6 in the morning during basketball season. He's not missed one.
Really?
Not one for 4 years. And so for him to have the injuries and have to fight through the stuff he's had to fight through, as a coach and the relationships you have with these kids, that's tough to watch Saylor not be able to play his senior against McMinn. So hopefully our guys understand it. And, hopefully they go out and fight. You're talking about 2 captains, too. Hopefully our guys understand, we need to have a little extra for Ricky and Saylor this week.
Yeah,
and
win one for them.
That's right. And the way we talk about family and the way we're a close-knit group, I'm expecting our guys to do that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the offensive line, because as good as Trey was running, as good as Javen can throw the ball and Cannon can catch the ball, absolutely nothing happens if that offensive line is not doing their thing, and every man manning his position and protecting the runners, or opening holes for the runners, or protecting the quarterback. So it's a total team effort there on offense.
It really is. It's a total team effort in all aspects of the game, you know, from Isaac Vaughn, like we mentioned, and Tucker Thompson on defense, and Cam Arrow. I mean, I can go on and on. And I probably seem frustrated today, and I am, but the good thing is we're finding a way. It's not always pretty, but we've found some ways to have a pretty good season up to this point, to put us in a good position to have a host a playoff game. Against McMinn County, week 10, it's going to be cold finally. You know, going to their place is always tough, but man, what else would you rather ask for? Going to play McMinn County with a chance to play at home next week. If you ain't excited, then don't go.
No, that's right, and you're right. I mean, it couldn't line up any better. Last game of the year, and it's so meaningful a game there. We're going to take a look at that game in a minute. We come back after this break on behalf of Cleveland Cliff Center here on the Buzz 101.3 and the BCHS Bear Network. Welcome back to our program this week. Coach Damon Floyd, brought to you by Cleveland Cliff Center, talking about our upcoming game Friday night with McMinn County. One of the oldest rivalries in the state of Tennessee since 1927. I think we finally narrowed it down. We're the fourth oldest. South Pittsburgh, Marion County started in 24. Rockwood and Midway, people don't know about that, started in 23. We started in 27 with McMinn County. We played every year since then, and even played twice a few years ago. Remember, we played them back-to-back on a Friday, and then the next Friday in the playoffs, and didn't come out on the good end on either one of those games there. But we'll forget it.
21 at one point and lost the game.
Yeah. Last week, we won 49-35 at Saudi Days and another come-behind win. But this is our 97th meeting with McMinn County. We lead at 54-39-3 in the series. And to say it's a backyard brawl would be an understatement, probably, because especially with this much on the line, we've beat them 5 in a row. And Coach Cagle at McMinn, he's a wily old coach. He's been in there 13 years. You're in 14 years, so you're the two deans of our region right now. And you expect nothing else except a very emotional, intense. We got to check our emotions Friday night, because you know they're going to be looking for things. But it should be a great dogfight up there.
Oh, we know exactly what to expect. And this is why you wear helmet and shoulder pads. You know, and if you ain't ready to make contact, it can get bad, because we know exactly how McMinn feels about us. There's no love loss. There's nobody else they'd rather play. As a matter of fact, we had our region meeting. You know, we'd been playing Maryville week 10 the past couple of years. Well, it got switched up, and Coach Cagle wanted to make sure that he played Bradley week 10. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, if it's going to be a physical football game, and it's going to be, it's not war, because I don't want to disrespect our military in any way, but it's going to be, it should be intense. I'll just say that. And I hope our kids, we've been stressing to them the importance of this game, how physical it's going to be, and I'm sure McMinn cannot wait to get it kicked off against us. Well,
Coach Cagle, like I said, has been there 13 years, and he's had some good years. He's had some really lean years. Last year was not a good year for him. But what's the difference? I've got a good friend who's an inside guy at McMinn football, and he told me and some friends of mine, he said 2 years ago, he said, this is the best freshman class we've ever had. They're now juniors, and I think that's probably what we're seeing, the fruition of them becoming more mature and experienced and growing up, and they're putting it out on the field now.
I think last year, you know, this junior class, which is mostly what those guys are, is they just weren't quite mature enough yet. You could see the talent with them. This year, you're seeing them; they're a little bit more mature. They've been in the weight room 1 year longer. You know, the bad thing is they'll all be seniors next year. But I'll say this, and I really do mean this. I do have a lot of respect for what Coach Cagle and Brad Bennett, who used to be here with us, he's their defense coordinator, what they do. I think it's one of the most well-coached teams that we play year in, year out. They don't do a whole lot. Like, they're not going to go out there and trick you. I'm not saying they won't have a trick play. But they're not going to trick you. You know what you're going to get scheme-wise, but they're very good at what they do scheme-wise.
Just want to line up and play football.
Yeah, they do. And they do. And they're tough, physical kids. What their brand of football fits their personalities. What they have ability-wise. So we definitely know it's going to be a tough challenge to go into McMinn County on week 10 with all that's on the line. It'll be a good game. I mean, it should be a good game. You know, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, penalties, turnovers, in this game has usually been the one that wins.
Well, and you look at them, they got a pretty good running game. I mean, Jalen Hunt, but he's only listed at 157 pounds. And mainly the quarterback, he's listed 150. Are those guys that fast, that deceptive? Is it their line that makes that all happen? Is it a combination of things? Or how are they so successful? I mean, they're at 8-1 right now.
Yeah, it's a combination. Like we talked about earlier with us, it's a team thing. Their offensive line, man, they get after it. They're one of the most intense offensive lines we'll see. They've got good size. 17, Hunt, he is not big, but he can make you miss. He's got speed, and he'll lower his shoulder if he needs to. They rotate 2 other guys in there. One of them's more of a speed guy. I can't think of his name, but he's number 3. And then number 1, their Mike linebacker will go in, and he's going to pound it. You know, he's going to run between the tackles. The quarterback's not a big kid either, but he's a competitor. That reminds me a lot of Cannon Hall. You know, I mean, he's going to make you miss. And, you know, you see Cannon, how many times does he get tackled by the first guy? Even if he makes them miss or they get their hands on it, I mean, he's fighting continuously for extra yards. So it's a typical McMinn County team with the same personality they've had for years. Is they're going to fight.
Yeah.
They're going to fight.
Well, I looked at their stats. They're averaging 2 touchdowns per game more this year than they were last year. They're only giving up 13, so they're outscoring their opponents by 26 points a game on the average. And that includes getting shut out by Maryville 30-0 last week. We've also upped ours. We're up 14 points per game ourselves over last year's average. We give them about the same amount of points, so I expect nothing less than a high offensive shootout, I guess.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
No.
You're the defensive coordinator. I know you're not.
Down a little bit, but I mean, however the game goes, we've got to make sure we understand it's a 4-quarter game. It could be more than 4 quarters, but we cannot turn the ball over. We cannot afford silly penalties. You know, if it's effort penalties, we can kind of live with those, but we cannot turn the ball over and have silly penalties. And I'm sure Coach Cagle's saying the same thing to his team.
Yeah,
so,
well, you know he is.
We played them a number of times, and that's always the case. The fewest turnovers, fewest penalties.
Well, last week we only had 5 penalties for the whole game. I don't think we had a single one in the second half. That's the best game we've had this year, penalty-wise. So we need to hold that the same way. Does McMinn ever try to throw the ball, or do they like to pass, or only if they're forced to? Or
they're going to cramp down your throat first, and as long as they can do that, that's the thing is they've not had to throw it.
Oh.
I mean, they're running right down people's throat. Now Maryville last week was a little bit different. It was all the rain. So
yeah.
Even if they wanted to throw it, it was difficult. I mean, they can throw it. Don't get me wrong on that, but you got to stop the run.
Yeah.
They do more quick games. They do have a couple RPOs. They're going to keep you honest. You know, if you don't cover them, they're going to hit them. So we do have to respect the passing game and then get to the ball when we know where it's at.
Well, one final question for you before I let you go. We saw Saylor limp off. We saw Ricky. What's the status of them or any other players? Are they out this week, or do you know yet? Or?
Yeah. I guess the best way to put it is we're not healthy.
Okay.
But it's time for some other people to step up, you know. And we don't have any excuses. We feel like the guys that's going to play Friday, they need to go in and give it all they got and let it lay on the line. And I'm sure they got some guys that's banged up too, you know. So
oh, yeah.
It is what it is. I hate it for those guys that don't get to play for us.
Yeah.
And from just a standpoint of it, they know they put a lot of time in to play McMinn County Week 10 of their senior season. It ain't the way it worked out. Sometimes life's that way. So we'll have to rally the troops and go up there and give it all we got.
You got a lot of seniors wanting to play another game at home here in the playoffs, which will start next week. So we got to get this win Friday first, though.
Yes, sir. I sure hope so. I hope they feel that way.
Yeah, I think they will. Folks, we'd like to invite you to tune in Friday night, 6 o'clock on the Buzz 101.3 for our pregame show. We kick off at 7:30. Also, listen to our interview with senior Michael Holyfield this week on the Buzz. Until then, we'll say God bless and go Bears.